in the world was that? I don't know either, but I do know that I'm Dave Rubin, and this is the Rubin Report. It is April 7th, 2025. We are live streaming on Rumble, on YouTube, and on Locals. Share, subscribe, tap the notification bell if you have not. I do apologize in advance. There is no post-game show today. I promise you it's for a good reason. I got to get out of here immediately after the show. I will tell the Locals people why privately a little bit later. And then related to that, our show tomorrow, the main 11 a.m. show, will actually be at 4 p.m. There are reasons, trust me, they're good ones. Just bear with me. We got some other really cool stuff coming later in the week. I'm very excited for this week. I know that there's an entire economic worldwide meltdown right now, but there are some good things happening, and we're just going to dive right into it today because obviously the main thing going on is that the stock market and the worldwide economic situation is in a bit of a free fall. This is really, this is one of those moments where for those of you that pay attention to politics and you pay attention to the culture wars and all this stuff and you pick your shows, I promise you we are going to try to consistently do this stuff as honestly as possible. It's the way I always do it. But I am not an expert in any of this. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I'm a macroeconomics expert or a microeconomics expert or anything else. But there are people that I read and that I listen to, that I respect. There are people on both sides of the tariffs issue. Just last week, we played legendary economist Thomas Sowell, who is against tariffs, to the backdrop of Trump explaining why they are leverage and everything else. And this story is not going away. I think that you shouldn't freak out. That would be my main thing. Stock markets go up and down, and this could be a good time to buy, but I'm not a financial advisor, and we're just gonna go with it as it comes, and I think that this is gonna be a week that we all remember because it does feel like a reordering of how not only worldwide trade works, but our relationships with literally every other country on earth. So let's just dive right into it and catch up. In case you did not look at any of your financials over the weekend, this is from the Wall Street Journal. Turmoil in global markets snowballed into one of the worst routes in recent memory after President Trump said he will stay the course with aggressive, economically disruptive tariffs. Stock futures tumbled early Monday, with contracts tied to the major U.S. indexes recently down more than 2%, though the declines had been even steeper earlier in the day. If the pullback holds through regular trading hours, the broad S&P 500 index would be close to following the tech-heavy NASDAQ composite into a bear market, often defined as following a 20-plus decline from a recent peak. Global markets recoiled. In Asia, where many economies are highly trade-reliant, stocks plunged. Hong Kong's main equity benchmark lost 13% in its worst day since the Asian financial crisis. Indexes in Shanghai, Taipei, and Tokyo fell between 7 and 10%. The sell-off didn't spare Europe, where stocks Europe 600 sank more than 4%. Bitcoin and oil prices fell sharply. Treasuries rallied, pushing down yields as investors calculated the Federal Reserve will need to slash interest rates. Futures prices likewise showed traders stepping up bets on multiple rate cuts early this year. Early Monday, Trump renewed his call for the Fed to ease policy and said his policies were bringing down oil prices and interest rates. U.S. stocks lost $6.6 trillion in value during a two-day washout last week after President Trump announced larger tariffs than Wall Street expected, and China said it would match the duties on all U.S.-made goods. Okay, so the short of it is that virtually everyone agrees we have had bad trade deals, right? We've been covering this a lot. Everyone knows this, right? Countries are able to sell their stuff in the United States for decades very cheaply, but for us to export things, countries have tariffs on us, and it makes it basically impossible because not only can we not produce things here because we generally, as a capitalist society and as a decent place that America is, we pay our people decently. And once you add that tax on the incoming stuff, countries are just like, we don't want anything from America. It's very simple. We've talked about the 300% to get cheese into Canada, or the 700% to get rice into Japan, or the 10% to get our cars into the European Union, et cetera, et cetera. So Trump is using the leverage of tariffs, saying, hey guys, if we don't have some equality around some of this stuff or even this out, then you're not going to be able to sell to us. And Americans still do consume a lot of stuff. That's why every time you go on Amazon, what happens? You're able to buy something that is made in China super, super cheap, and you actually pay more for it than they would in, say, India or somewhere else, right? Like some piece of crap that you buy that you're like, oh, it is cheaper because it's made in China. They still are charging you way more in America than they would in India or some other country. This from Disclosed TV. Just in, Dow slides 1,600 points, S&P 500 loses $2 trillion, NASDAQ posts biggest single-day losses since 2020 COVID-19 crash, according to CNBC. So at the moment, there's not much positive to say about all of this, right? Because the markets are going down. I opened up my app this morning that tracks my financials, and it was rather depressing. But the question is, does Trump saying to the world, we are going to fix this stuff, and if you don't fix this stuff and make these trade deals fair, you ain't going to have access to our markets anymore, and that's going to cost you guys. Does that bring other countries to the table? Well, we'll have a little bit more on that in a moment, but I thought this was interesting from Washington Post. Listen to this in terms of Trump's sort of mental state at the moment. He's at the peak of just not giving an F anymore, said a White House official with knowledge of Trump's thinking. Bad news stories, doesn't give an F. He's going to do what he's going to do. He's going to do what he promised to do on the campaign trail. And yes, this is what he promised to do on the campaign trail. As a matter of fact, you may remember the video we showed you on Thursday from about 35 years ago when he was on Oprah Winfrey saying that if I was president, I would make sure we had more fair trade deals with these countries because we're getting ripped off all the time. So this is exactly what he said. Here he is yesterday talking about this temporary blip that no one's denying it, that we're all seeing and we're all looking at and we're all not thrilled with.
Is there a Trump put though? Is there pain in the market at some point? You're unwilling to tolerate this idea of a Trump put. Is there a threshold?
I think your question is so stupid. I mean, I think I don't want anything to go down, but sometimes you have to take medicine to fix something, and we have such a horrible. We have been treated so badly by other countries because we had stupid leadership that allowed this to happen. They took our businesses, they took our money, they took our jobs, they moved it to Mexico, they moved it to Canada, they moved a lot of it to China, and it's not sustainable. We're not going to do it. Now we have hundreds of billions of dollars is pouring into our country. On a monthly basis, it's pouring, it's already started because they put tariffs on. And eventually it's going to straighten out and our country will be solid and strong again.
All right, so first off, I love the way he starts the answer to the question. Like, what a stupid question. Like, the girl's like, is there some point where you're going to reverse this? It's like, what, you idiot. That's part of the yes, lady, if it gets this bad, I'll reverse it. Then you're giving away all your leverage. These people are not bright, thus they are journalists. But the broader point, though, is this is exactly what Trump ran on, right? We've played you many clips of Trump during the campaign saying there's going to be a pain point. We've played you many clips of Elon saying if we're going to fix these things, there's going to be a pain point. Do we have a video from maybe, I don't know, 2-3 months ago of Trump saying there's going to be a pain point?
No, I'm not concerned. We may have short-term a little pain, and people understand that. But long-term, the United States has been ripped off by virtually every country in the world. We have deficits with almost every country. Not every country, but almost. And we're going to change it. It's been unfair. That's why we owe $36 trillion. We have deficits with everybody. We help everybody. We've been helping everybody for years. And to be honest, I don't think they appreciate it. So we're going to change that. We're going to change it fast. We're going to make America great again. We have to focus on our country. We have tremendous potential if properly used, and we have to focus on our country. Tremendous deficits with China, tremendous deficits with the European Union, tremendous deficits with Mexico and Canada.
All right, guys, so look, I can't see into the future any more than you can. Will this work? I don't know. I think there are definitely signs that it is going to work because we'll get to that in a moment in terms of some of the countries and organizations that are reversing some of their policies. But I don't know what's going to happen, and you don't know what's going to happen. But what is refreshing about this precarious moment that we're in is that it's pretty rare that a president runs on something and then does it. And then once he's in office actually admits the truth, there's going to be a pain point. Doesn't just say, I'm going to print more money and give you money, We're just going to print more money. We're going to do the Inflation Reduction Act, which actually raised inflation. He's actually doing what he said. So it will all fall on him, right? So if this thing does not work, it falls on Trump. If it works, he gets the credit for it. But we shall see. Here's more evidence of just some of the nonsensical things we've been doing in terms of virtually all of it's not just economic deals. It's trade, it's NATO, it's everything. Go.
I've spoken to many countries. They all want to do, just so you understand the power of what I'm doing. Every country is calling and being very solicitous of us. Very, very nice. They're being very nice. And we have to be able to justify. This is not sustainable. The United States can't lose $1.9 trillion on trade. We can't do that and also spend a lot of money on NATO in order to protect European nations. We cover them with military, then we lose money on trade. The whole thing is crazy. And I got elected on that basis. We explained it. You know, the American people understand it a lot better than the media. But the media understands it. And much of the media writes correctly about it, I must say.
The American people understand it more than the media. That's right. That's why I'm trying to cover this the way that I am. Again, I can't see the future. You can't see the future. But I think most people who aren't hysterical lunatics, and we'll have some video of hysterical lunatics in just a bit, but most people who aren't hysterical lunatics understand that something hasn't been right. Why do we foot the bill on most of NATO to protect Europe while we're also getting screwed on European trade deals? Does that make sense? So if you are going to change that, you have to use whatever levers of pressure you have to change it. Here's Kevin O'Leary, Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, defending Trump's reciprocal tariffs, arguing that the point is, I don't think Mr. Wonderful loves tariffs either, but the idea is you negotiate. You say to people, oh, as of today, we can't get screwed the way you've been screwing us. We'd like to be screwed a little bit less, so we're going to screw you until you screw us less. That makes sense, right?
Can you defend the tariffs?
You know, I try and focus on the signal, not the noise. Harris is not president. Trump is. And if you don't like him 12 years ago, you don't like him now. And I get it. I completely get it. But that's not the issue. Let's talk about the situation here. Reciprocal tariffs that have been put in place, they're basically ours for some country. We've got 60 countries on the list. Already, you've heard from Thailand, Cambodia, the EU, and Senator Kennedy in Louisiana calling for zero tariffs between Canada and the United States. The whole point is it's a negotiation. And if you can get to zero tariffs, that's the best outcome. That's called free trade. That's 50% of why these tariffs are put on. So I'd argue to you, yeah, I hate volatility. I don't like it when the market corrects, but the market corrects all the time. And it generally goes down 15 to 20%. It's proven over 100 years plus. It's a great buying opportunity. And we just got the jobs numbers. The economy is just fine. Now, maybe you don't like watching sausage being made. Obviously, Trump doesn't care. He's an unusual character that way. A lot of these negotiations are done in private quarters. Trump doesn't care. You saw the first of that with Lewinsky. That's just the way he operates. So I don't care about the noise. I care about the outcome.
All right, first off, Mr. Wonderful, not that I have to give you any television expertise, but the background noise that you were all hearing, it sounded like someone was eating chips, was because he had his microphone down here and it was whacking into his tie, unless somebody else was eating chips in the CNN control room. But I like his line. I'm focused on the signal, not the noise. The noise is, he's waking up every moment and looking at the numbers and being like, holy shit, the sky is falling. Somebody help me. The signal is exactly what he said. We are trying to fix things. And anyone knows, you're a parent, you got a kid who's completely out of control. It's going to take a little bit of work to fix them, right? There's going to be a pain point to fix them. You have a problem with your boss, with your employee. You got a problem, literally any problem. You don't know how to swim. You got to learn how to swim. It's going to take a little time in the pool where it's going to be a problem, right? So don't focus on the noise at the moment. The signal is what he said. Can we get these other countries to zero tariffs? That's actually, ironically, for the libertarians who hate tariffs, the way you may get rid of all the tariffs is by threatening with tariffs, right? Because then if other countries are like, you know what, we need access to Americans. Americans buy a lot of shit. They're on Amazon all day buying crap. If If I had a nickel for every box that shows up at my house, I would be a very, very rich man. I don't know what they're buying in there, but you get it. So if you threaten them with tariffs, which they already have on us, and then suddenly they're like, uh-oh, we're losing access, then maybe they drop it and we get zero tariffs across the board. And then we have the libertarian dream, the thing that Thomas Sowell would want the most, that I think most people who understand capitalism want, which is free trade across the world. That would be nice. There's an In-N-Out. This is not the official In-N-Out Twitter. I don't think they have an official In-N-Out Twitter. This is a fan-run account, but I thought this sort of gets it nicely. Any newly In-N-Out, which is the best burger chain in America by far, and the one thing I miss from Cali, any newly imposed tariff will not affect prices at In-N-Out since none of the company's ingredients are imported. So isn't that interesting, right? I can't speak to the full veracity of that statement. There might be other reasons certain prices go up or something like that. But the general idea is if you start a business in the United States and all of your ingredients or all of the parts that you buy or whatever, all the technology that you use is made in the United States, then when these trade wars break out, it won't really matter to you. And that is kind of good. And the only way to stop the trade wars from breaking out is to stop the reason for the trade wars in the first place, which is uneven trading. And that's what Trump is trying to do. We will have way more on this and some of the good news, because even though I can just tell the temperature on X this morning is everybody is in full Chicken Little, the sky is falling mode, there are some good signs, and I think it would be worth taking a breath. But first, lean. Are you stuck in the yo-yo dieting cycle? You lose weight, gain it all back, plus a few extra pounds, then do it all over again? It's not just frustrating, it's dangerous. Studies show that repeated weight fluctuations can increase your risk of heart attack, stroke, type 2 diabetes, and other serious health problems. That's why doctors created Lean, a supplement designed to help you lose weight and keep it off. Unlike injections, Lean is a natural science-backed formula that requires no prescription. It works by supporting healthy blood sugar levels, controlling appetite, and burning fat by converting it into energy. If you're tired of losing weight just to gain it right back and you're ready to lose weight at a healthy, sustainable pace, Lean was made for you. Get 20% off your first order with code Rubin20 at takelean.com. That's Rubin20 at takelean.com. Start your journey today. Hey, did you do what I told you? I told you to take a breath, because now we're going to get to some of the good stuff. This is from Derek Evans, who's a West Virginia Senate candidate. Breaking: in response to President Trump's tariffs, Taiwan is now offering zero tariffs to the United States. So again, what did we do? We had an uneven trade deal with Taiwan, even though we're the big boy in this situation, but we had an uneven trade deal. We threatened tariffs, and now we're going to have an even, the 0 to 0. That's exactly what Kevin O'Leary was talking about. And there's more. Tweet from Leading Report. Breaking: Vietnam falls. Officials call Trump, say they will want to remove all tariffs in deal with the U.S. per President of the United States. Okay, so now Vietnam is on board. And then I just saw this right before the show. This is from my friend Emily Austin. Europe is ready to negotiate with the U.S. We have offered 0 for 0 tariffs for industrial goods, according to EU Commission President. So, okay, a whole bunch of countries. This also includes, it was just announced, I think on Friday, Israel, Argentina, and Italy all have removed tariffs. Free trade. So everyone, again, the sky is falling, the sky is falling. And then if you just don't listen to the noise, but you look at the signal, what's the signal? Well, there are a whole bunch of countries getting on board. And maybe what will actually happen here is that this will separate sort of the strong from the weak, right? Like there will be some countries that are going to be like, you know what? We do love America's leadership in the world. We do love that America protects us. We love that America is the last remaining superpower. We do love that American market and everything else. And we're going to get on board and we're going to do the 0 to 0 and that will eliminate the tariffs in essence. And then there'll be some countries that are just going to go in direct opposition to us. And maybe they'll go more towards China, but at least it will be clean and real and everything else. And yes, there's plenty of evidence that many more countries are getting on board the crazy train here. Here is Economic Council Director Kevin Hassett. And listen to how many countries have now reached out to negotiate.
I got a report from the USTR last night that more than 50 countries have reached out to the president to begin a negotiation. But they're doing that because they understand that they bear a lot of the tariff. And so I don't think that you're going to see a big effect on the consumer in the U.S. because I do think that the reason why we have a persistent long-run trade deficit is these people have very inelastic supply. They've been dumping goods into the country in order to create jobs, say, in China.
Okay, so more evidence. I'm putting a theory out there and then we're playing videos with evidence. that countries are like, oh, we kind of do want to do business with the United States. Trump is saying there's a new sheriff in town. We're not going to just get smacked around like your bitch anymore. We're going to do it so that we're kind of equal players in this thing. And then 50 more countries coming around. Here's Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick saying that tariffs will bring back factory jobs because the idea is that if there's an even playing field, we'll be able to produce things in the United States. Remember when your parents or your grandparents used to work at places that produce things in the United States? We don't do that anymore. Thus, everything you buy on Amazon is from China. Well, maybe that's going to change too.
This is his movie that he's been talking about for 35 years. He said, we've been ripped off. You can go find video of him from 1988 on Oprah talking about how we're being ripped off. He finally gets to stand up for American workers, stand up for America, bring the factories back home, and get rid of this national emergency called our trade deficit, which is outrageous. You can't just give that away. See, what's going to happen is robotics are going to replace the cheap labor that we've seen all across the world. I mean, think of what our factories did. They went to the cheapest labor in the whole world, slave labor, cheap labor, the worst environmental conditions, polluting the heck out of it. And then we bring back those cheap products here and we feel good about ourselves because we don't see the pain. But the pain is in our workers. The American workers have been given the raw deal. And what's going to happen now is we're going to build factories and we're going to train and we're going to have trade craft. We're going to do the greatest set of training ever. These are great paying jobs that are Americans. We're going to have 5 million of those jobs coming. And America is going to retool. It's going to do manufacturing, and robotics can sew as well. You've never seen anything like what you're going to see, the renaissance of American manufacturing coming because Donald Trump is bringing them back. He's driving them back. $6 trillion, he said today, he's got committed to America.
Yeah, and we've gone through some of those numbers last week, the amount of companies that are now saying they are going to invest in the United States, right? So imagine that. Wouldn't that be something if we could start manufacturing things here again? It really would change the world, right? And then if other companies had to sort of compete with us in an even way, then overall, the idea would be that the price of goods would go down. There would be more competition, right? More chance for people to innovate, to think how to do things differently and everything else. And then every factory that's closing in the United States, the few that remain, maybe some of them could reopen again because not everything would be outsourced to a place that we have an uneven trade deal with. Again, I can't see into the future. I don't know if it'll work. I'm just talking about the signal. What is the signal right now? That is the signal. So you can either, it's not hope. You can try and get on board the idea that we can fix these things and hope that the people that are in charge are competent. And Lutnick does seem competent. Bessent seems competent. We'll have more on him in just a second. And it's like, maybe things will actually change. So here is Treasury's head of the Treasury, Scott Bessent, talking to Tucker about why Trump is trying to use tariffs and how that will change things.
The people who are hoping that yesterday's move will lead to a demonstrably brighter future within 4 years. Is it your sincere prediction that within 4 years we'll say, actually, that kind of worked?
I believe that it's going to work. And I know that what we were doing wasn't working.
Yes.
So I think we have to try this. And I have a high confidence ratio it's going to work. And I have a very high confidence ratio. The good news is we have President Trump's previous term when everyone said none of this was going to work. Oh, the China tariffs are going to do this. They're going to cause inflation. They didn't. This is going to happen to working class. It's going to be bad for working class Americans. Well, guess what? Working class Americans, the hourly workers did better than supervisory workers. The bottom 50% of households, their net worth increased faster than the top 10% of households.
Interestingly, Joe Biden, remember Joe Biden, the elderly man that was pretending to be president? When Trump did enact some of those tariffs against China first time around, 45 Trump, Biden never got rid of them. Kind of funny. So we had some of those tariffs and nobody cared about that. Now, more interesting even than that clip, I want to show you one more of Scott Bessent talking to Tucker, because the philosophical debate is, does the idea of tariffs work? right? If you put the tariff on the incoming stuff from another country, do they then tariff you more? And then does everybody tariff everybody into oblivion, and then it screws the consumer? That's sort of like what the main libertarian argument would be. Bessent had a different take on it that I think was quite good.
I'm not happy with what's going on in the market today, but the distribution of equities across households, the top 10% of Americans own 88% of equities, 88% of the stock market. The next 40% owns 12% of the stock market. The bottom 50 has debt. They have credit card bills, they rent their homes, they have auto loans, and we've got to give them some relief. That I was struck by the statistic from last year.
That's the message right there. Just as a bystander, I'm like, wow, okay.
A lot of our trading partners, including some of our allies, have not been good partners. If tariffs are so bad, why do they have them?
Great question.
Why do they have them, right? Or if the American consumer is going to pay all the tariff, then why do they care about tariff?
Right.
Because they're going to eat them.
That's the point. If tariffs are so bad, then why do they have them? So it might not be that tariffs are inherently horrible. Tariffs are horrible when you are on the receiving side of the bad end of the tariff. Trump is trying to tariff so we can eliminate tariffs. And we just told you what's happening in Vietnam and Argentina and Israel and Italy and a couple other countries, and apparently 50 other countries and the European Union that are now coming back to the table. So there's few people that are arguing for tariffs for the sake of tariffs. Yes, I want more tariffs, and I want them to tariff more and them to tariff more, and then we're all going to pay more for everything. I'm not really hearing much of that argument. But if tariffs are bad, then why do they all do it? So you might understand why the markets are struggling right now, because Trump is trying to even the playing field. I think I used this analogy last week. You ever play Monopoly when you're a kid and you're playing Monopoly, you got a couple friends around the Monopoly board, and somehow the guy who's also the banker always has a little more cash than everybody. He can somehow buy all those hotels on Baltic Avenue and turn it into Atlantic Avenue. And then you start realizing, oh, every time I turn around or pee, this guy's taking a little cash. That's basically what's been happening here. And then what happens? Then you throw the board, you hit him with it, you force some of those hotels down his throat. We've all been there. That's what's been going on here. So unless you want Trump to do that to you, come to the table, people. Rumble Premium, and then more on just the general state of lunacy, because yes, we've got crazy people in this country and they're out there walking amongst us. Free speech is under attack, but Rumble refuses to back down. We've always believed in empowering voices no matter how unpopular, and now we're taking that fight to the next level. When major advertisers conspired to pull their dollars, even brands like Dunkin' Donuts turned their backs, claiming Rumble had a right-wing culture. But we're not here to fit a mold, we're here to defend free expression. To strengthen this mission, we're excited to offer Rumble Premium, a completely ad-free experience with exclusive benefits for viewers and creators. You'll find exclusive content from creators like Russell Brand, Dr. Disrespect, Timcast, and the Mug Club with Crowder. It's more than a subscription, it's a stand for free speech. Your voice matters. Join Rumble Premium. For a limited time, you can get $10 off an annual plan using promo code Rubin. Visit rumble.com/premium/Rubin and claim your discount today. Together, we can turn the tide. Whether you join Rumble Premium or simply keep watching, your support helps keep free speech alive. All right, so for those of you who are out there in society, particularly those of you who live in blue states and blue cities, you've got to notice at this point there's a lot of mentally unwell people out there, and they wander around with signs, and they have strange hair, and they're usually very out of shape and have horrible skin, and they wear masks, and they call for genocide, and they stop people from going to school, and they take over streets, and they always have a reason for it. Sometimes it's a BLM reason, sometimes it's a Hamas reason, sometimes it's a, oh my God, the government's becoming more efficient reason. But that thing, that current thing, is just morphing into one thing right now. All of this paid protester nonsense is just morphing into some evil monstrosity. We're going to show you some video and images in just a second, but first a bit from the AP, because they were all over the country this past weekend. Crowds of angry people, angry about the way President Donald Trump is running the country, marched and rallied in scores of American cities Saturday, in the biggest day of demonstrations yet, by an opposition movement trying to regain its momentum after the shock of the Republicans' first weeks in office. so-called hands-off, oops, sorry, the prompter went a little far for me, back it up. So-called hands-off demonstrations were organized for more than 1,200 locations in all 50 states by more than 150 groups, including civil rights organizations, labor unions, LGBTQ advocates, veterans, and election activists. The rallies appeared peaceful with no immediate reports of arrests. Thousands of protesters in cities dotting the nation from Midtown Manhattan to Anchorage, Alaska, including multiple state capitals, assailed Trump and billionaire Elon Musk's actions on government downsizing, the economy, immigration, and human rights. On the West Coast, in the shadow of Seattle's iconic Space Needle, protesters held up signs with slogans like "Fight the Oligarchy." Protesters chanted as they took to the streets in Portland, Oregon, and Los Angeles, where they marched from Pershing Square to City Hall. So first off, let me say broadly, and I know that hypocrisy is dead and all that kind of stuff. But if this was the Biden administration, or let's say the Kamala administration, had she won, and there were thousands and thousands of Donald Trump MAGA hat wearing Americans protesting peacefully and everything else, do you think the media would be covering it the same way, or would it be white supremacists are on the streets, we've got to arrest these people, it's January 6th over and over again, and everything else? Now, the broader point, and I'm sort of amazed that piece that I just read referenced it, is that these are giant nonprofit organizations, NGOs and nonprofits, that are pushing these people out there. This is coordinated, top-down, inorganic protest. Bernie loves to tell you how grassroots this all is, while they pay protests, while they bus people in, while they literally hand them the signs and the scripts to read and everything else. Here's about a minute compilation of a bunch of goddamn fucking lunatics.
So what makes Trump a fascist? What makes Trump a fascist?
He does things without
You gotta talk loud. I don't have my mic on.
I'm not really good into interviews. Stuff like that.
Sorry?
I'm at the protest right now in New York City, anti-Trump, anti-fascist protest, and I have one question. Where the is Gen Z?
My name is Gracia Martinez Rosas. I am an immigrant. I am undocumented, unafraid, queer, and unashamed.
Lady, you're not going to be here much longer, and you probably should be shamed. I mean, it's just series of people walking dog humans. It's all insane. They don't know what they're protesting. We were far closer to fascism for the last 4 years as the government colluded with big tech and corporate media to silence you and inject you and everything else. But those people sat silently for that, often locked themselves in the room all day during that. And right now we've got a guy who's trying to uncover government fraud, and they're out there. But you must understand, this is coordinated. There is nothing organic about it. As a matter of fact, libs of TikTok found this video. Here are the buses transporting the protesters. Where are they from? Who paid for these buses? Do they get lunch and a cookie and a nice thing of 2% milk?
People don't believe that people get out here and they charter buses to do their protesting. They pay protesters. We got two full on. No, there's no Trump on there. They're just paid protesters. Crazy.
So who are these people? Who is paying them? Who pays for the bus? Who pays for the gas? If there were any journalists out there, maybe that would be something they might want to look into. Connor apparently created something on the fly here that I have to. Yes, it appears that Immortan Joe from Mad Max, Fury Road, and the new one. I liked both of them. A lot of people didn't like the second one. I liked it. But look at him out there with the dog Trump. There was also a behead. What are these? What's that movie? Where they kill everybody? You got 24 hours to kill everybody? The Purge. The Purge is happening right now. That's the next step in all of this. It really is, because these people will be strapping on suicide bombs and and everything else. Here is a man, Eric Swalwell, who not only, as you know, farted live on television on MSNBC, but also had sex with a known Chinese spy. Her name was Fang Fang. You can Google it yourself. Don't take my word for it, although you can watch my interview with then House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy if you want to find out more about that. But he absolutely, it is a known fact, slept with a Chinese spy. Here he is out there, and you can see how he's riling up the people. Oh, and he's got the jihad lady there with him and everything else. Go.
This is what kicking the shit out of fascism looks like. This is what it looks like. We've seen a lot of people cave to fascism in America. We're not.
We are currently living through a president who wants to be a dictator. In America, we do not accept dictators and we do not accept kings. We have a billionaire who has bought a seat next to the president, using him as a puppet. American democracy has never been for sale, and it won't be today.
All right, first off, I have something for the team. Could we get Christy to buy a bucket? I want to buy a bucket, probably like a metal bucket. And can we paint Ilhan Omar's face on there? Because every time I listen to her, I think I'm about to puke. I'm not kidding. I can't take it with her anymore. And I would just have an Ilhan Omar puke bucket, and we would just keep it. It would be slightly off camera. Obviously, I'd only bring it on if I was going to actually puke on air. Okay, first off, there's no fascism here. You, if anything, as I just said, you people are the ones who tried to usher in fascism. You know what it reminds me of? It's exactly what they did last week. What was the big thing for the Democrats last week? Cory Booker. What did Cory Booker do? Cory Booker did not urinate for 25 hours. He stood up there at the Capitol and he talked for 25 hours. And then Chuck Schumer, with his glasses low, that's what Chuck Schumer does. Oh my God, we're so proud of you, Cory. You talked for 25 hours. We love you so much. This is going in the history books. But he did nothing. He accomplished nothing. He didn't stop a piece of legislation from going through. He didn't get a new piece of legislation passed. He didn't do anything. And that's what these people are doing. They go out there, go get laid, play a sport, go to the gym, play Dungeons and Dragons. What else do people do? Give me one other thing that people are doing these days. Play Fortnite, okay? I played it once with my nephew. It was not pretty. You people are morons. You're ruining the best country in the world. Leave. If you don't like it, I mean that. No one's keeping you here. You think you're fighting fascism, so go to some other place that you think is free. Eric Swalwell. Ilhan, go back to Somalia, the place you're trying to turn this thing into. Was I clear on that? Get me that slop bucket immediately. I'm going to read a live ad for you right now. Home title lock. Guys, when's the last time you checked your home title? You know, the legal document that proves you actually own your home. If you're anything like me, the answer is probably never. And that's exactly the problem. In today's world of AI and cybercrime, home title theft is a growing threat, and your equity is what they're after. Here's how it works. Scammers forge your signature on a single document, slap on a fake notary stamp, file it with your county, and just like that, your home title is no longer in your name. Most people don't even realize it's happened until they get a foreclosure notice or a collections call. Make sure you're not already a victim. Go to HometitleLock.com. Use promo code Rubin to get a free title history report, plus a free 14-day trial of $1 million triple lock protection. Again, that's HometitleLock.com. Promo code Rubin. Your home is probably your biggest investment. Don't leave it wide open to cyber criminals. Okay, and now I want to shift topics for just a second. This is a little bit of a jump, but there was a story that broke last week in Texas that is so profoundly horrific. And if the story had just been told slightly differently, it would be plastered all over everything. All of these people, these purple-haired, mask-wearing, crippled people pulling dog humans down the street, they'd all be protesting for a whole different reason, but you'll see why we're covering this. It's a really important story. This is from the Daily Wire. A 17-year-old Texas boy was stabbed to death on Wednesday at a high school track meet after the victim reportedly told the alleged 17-year-old assailant that he was sitting in the wrong seat. The boy died in his twin brother's arms. According to Jeff Metcalf, his son Austin, whose identical twin Hunter was nearby and saw the confrontation, had a 4.0 GPA, and was MVP of Frisco's ISDS's Memorial High School football team. He did not know the alleged assailant when the incident occurred at Kikendall Stadium at roughly 10 a.m. They were twins, identical twins, and his brother was holding on to him, trying to make it stop bleeding, and he died in his brother's arms, Jeff Metcalf said. I rushed up there and I saw him on the gurney and I could tell. They said he wasn't breathing. I could see all the blood and I saw where the wound was and I was very concerned. So I had to find his brother and we rushed to the hospital and we prayed and it's God's plan. I don't understand it, but they weren't able to save him. This is murder. I'm not trying to judge, but what kind of parents did this child have? Jeff Metcalf asked. What was he taught? He brought a knife to a track meet and murdered my son by stabbing him in the heart. The guy was in the wrong place and they asked him to move and he bowed up. This is murder. Karmelo Anthony, 17, a senior at Centennial High School, was charged by Frisco police with Metcalf's murder. So, all right, already you can see why you're not hearing more about this story. It was a black assailant and it was a white victim. Had it gone the other way, you know this would be everywhere. Every single one of those people out on the streets, this would be their new current thing. Everybody on MSNBC and in the Washington Post and New York Times and elsewhere would be telling you this is proof of systemic racism, that America's a white supremacist country and everything else. But because it went the other way, because it was a black kid, and I don't care about anyone's skin color, that's the thing. The reason this story is important and to shine light on it is important is because it exposes the hypocrisy and the faux racism that we've been living under. Well, here's Austin's twin brother, Hunter, explaining what happened.
There was this kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, you need to move. He's like, make me move. Austin grabbed his backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and then I'm not going to talk about the rest. So just that's just what I saw. And I tried to help him, but
it was just senseless.
It was really senseless. Really, I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like that man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid.
All right. So again, I don't care about people's skin color, and I know you don't care about people's skin color, but the entire machine that has made us care about people's skin color, that has made everyone endlessly care about people's skin color, is ignoring the story of this young man, happened to be twin brothers with that guy and a major football star, and by all accounts, a great kid. He is dead. And the mainstream doesn't care because it doesn't fit the narrative. And there is only one place, surprise, surprise, Fox News on mainstream media that is covering this at all. Here's Austin's mother, Megan, speaking about her son.
Oh, he was the most amazing kid. Oh, so smart. He had college football guys looking at him to play in college. His goal was to play in college. He just wanted to play football. His life was going to the gym and working out and being a leader on his football team, and he just had such ambitions and a drive that it's hard to find in a kid. And he's just such a good spirit, and so many kids loved him, and his brother's lost his best friend.
They're twins, right?
Yeah, identical twins, yeah.
They've been like...
They are the best of friends, like just... I'm so worried about my son because he's going to have to face this world alone now because he had a brother that was with him the whole time, and now he's going to have to do it alone. And I'm just so worried about him. I really am.
I want to show you one more clip on this. I try not to go too melancholy on the show, but I just think this is important. Like we really, if we're gonna, it's you can relate this in some sense to the tariff thing. Like there's some pain points to fix things, and if we're gonna fix what the woke did to us as it pertains to race, we better start treating all cases of evil, which is exactly what this was. We better treat them all equally. we better not go, oh my God, that one doesn't fit the narrative because the assailant's skin color was this and the victim's skin color was this. We got to treat them all equally. But again, all of the people that are out there on the streets, and because they protest for the current thing. So if this had gone the other way, if it was a white kid who stabbed a 17-year-old black football star who had a twin brother who was also black, and those images got out there, this would be the current thing. You would all know the name, right? You would. Here is Will Cain over on Fox, because as I said, Fox is the only mainstream outlet covering this, talking to Austin's brother and mother on how they feel.
But I have seen interviews with your husband in the last 24 hours, and it was remarkable to me that I heard your husband say within hours of this that he forgave this other young man, and he got there so quickly. And I honestly don't know that I could, and I just want to see. And I don't know if there's a right or a wrong place to be, especially as quickly as this has happened. Megan, how do you feel on that front today?
I am not like their dad. I am so angry at that boy. It's just not fair. That's all I have.
I understand.
I'd like to say it's forgave, not forgotten, but I'm not at that point yet to forgive that kid for what he did to my brother. Because, 17 years, my best friend, just there and didn't blink of an eye.
Yeah, I don't know how the father is forgiven yet, and I hear the son. I'm not there yet. But life absolutely gone for absolutely no reason. Interestingly, I mean, this is really, it's a bit of a sidebar, but it's wild. Their family did a GoFundMe, and they've raised about $250,000, which I assume will be for a memorial and some other things. The family of Karmelo Anthony, who is the assailant, he is the bad guy in this story. He is the guy that stabbed a 17-year-old in the heart. They've raised $154,000. His official fund, the Help Karmelo official fund, has raised $154,000 as of this morning. He stabbed a 17-year-old kid in the heart who told him he was sitting in the wrong spot. I want to connect this more broadly to the culture wars. My friend Eric Weinstein, who's been on the show many times, he was on a podcast talking about why so many teen boys, in essence, have been pushed to the right. Now, this isn't about politics, this specific thing, but when they're pushed to the right, meaning they're told they're awful, their skin color's awful, their gender's awful, they're going to be pushed, they're going to have higher thresholds to meet to get into schools, et cetera, et cetera. And that actually does end up radicalizing a lot of these young men.
Have you seen the data showing the movement of teenage boys politically to the right? Have you been looking at this?
Well, where else are they going to go?
It's a good question.
I mean, I had a teenage boy. I still have one, but he's 18 now. And I watched them be pushed farther and farther right by their schools. You suck. All of your instincts are bad. These girls are amazing. Look at you. You're pathetic. Be less masculine and more attractive. You're just barking at them constantly. They're not moving right. They're moving out of your stupid way. You've given them what? Nothing. Nothing. One of my son's friends died recently by his own hand. And I don't know what kind of pressures he was put under. But I watched those kids go through this pressure cooker created by this crazy, parasitized, left-wing educational movement. Get away from our sons. Get away from our daughters. Get away from our sons and away from our daughters. It's not left or right. I don't have a Republican bone in my body. Get the crazy people who do not understand human development away from our children.
Yeah, and that's it. That is it. What did we think was going to happen after a decade of telling people that you are bad because of your skin color? You are bad because of your race. You're bad because of your genitals. You're bad because of your biology and all of those things. And by the way, not only are you bad because of all of those things, but also to get into schools we're going to discriminate against you. So Eric's right. It's not that they've moved right per se. That is true, actually. When you look at young Gen Z males, they are now voting more with Republicans. But that's really not what the headline is. The headline is you pushed, what did he say? You pushed stupid on them, in essence. You pushed dishonesty on them. You pushed all of your own guilty, evil shit on them. That's what the system did forever. The entire cultural apparatus made it seem like people were inherently bad. And it was the purported good guys that were doing it. And now there is a pushback against it. And who knows how out of whack that pushback could be, right? If there suddenly becomes some giant white male identitarian movement in this country, right? And by the way, Jordan Peterson was warning against that for years. Kept saying, you crazies on the left, it's not what you're doing right now. It's what you could be leading to if you do this. And there could be some evidence of that. And I want to connect this more broadly to what has happened in our culture. We have certain places in this country where we allow criminality to go unfettered. And yes, I'm talking about the blue states and blue cities. You're allowed to take over the streets. You are allowed to burn down a Pep Boys if you think it is just for your cause. This is wild. This is absolutely wild. This is Chicago. Here are a bunch of guys dressed as parking attendants. This is over the weekend, demanding money from people who just want to park to watch the White Sox play baseball.
You are watching a modern-day version of highway robbery.
The money.
An organized team of thieves on motorized scooters swindling travelers in the middle of rush hour on the Dan Ryan Expressway.
We didn't see any police nearby, so that made us even more nervous.
We caught them demanding $40 in cash in order to pass.
They don't let you turn right unless you pay them the money.
It's kind of an extortion in a way.
Ryan Cawley and his wife Jackie were heading to a Chicago White Sox game when they were surrounded.
I just remember he went around to my side of the vehicle, and he was swearing at Ryan because Ryan had said no. And then at that point, he started swearing really loudly and then started kicking the car.
The scammers pretending to be official White Sox parking attendants.
They had the yellow vests on, and they had a fistful of cash, which gives them, the appearance that they're actually legit.
And they're on phones.
We were a little bit late. So it was like, the game's already started. Here, we need $40 cash. There's no spots left. If you want to get a spot, you got to give me the money now. And I said, well, I don't have $40 in cash. And I thought, the sign says credit debit. I have my credit card. He's like, no, man, that's not how it works. You need $40 cash. This is the last spot left. This is it.
And when you told them, no, I'm not going to pay it, they got aggressive.
Yeah. And I think that was around the time when he went around to the back and just started kicking us to get out.
All right, Connor just told me the first mistake there is going to the White Sox game. Apparently they're 1-8. That's number one. Number two, who has cash on them? Are you allowed to Venmo these guys? Is the guy like, yeah, my email scammer at, that's another thing. The serious side of this, and I don't care about their skin color. Now, it appears that most of them were black. I don't care about their skin color. What I am connecting this to is that we are just allowing large-scale criminality all over our streets. How many videos do we have to show you of just a bunch of teenagers ransacking an Amazon truck or running through a CVS so that they can grab all the deodorant and toothpaste, which I'm pretty sure they don't even use? Or how about this story? A DoorDash driver who's trying to help a guy, and the guy, well, he stabbed him.
He was just trying to get some food.
Altman's decided to order the man food.
I opened my car, I was gonna go get him some food, and literally the second I opened my door to step out, he just starts stabbing me.
Fort Worth Police Department says Quindarius Cartwright is the man who cut Altman's in the face and chest. Photos of the bloody gash are too graphic to broadcast.
Genuinely thought I was gonna die. It was so much blood. Walked in Waffle House, they were freaking out. I mean, I'm sure it's probably a traumatic thing for anyone to watch.
Video of Altman's recovery shows his swollen face and stitches.
Most of the stab wounds to the body weren't really too bad. It was just when he stabbed me in the face that was it was really bad.
On top of injuries, Cartwright reportedly stole Altman's car and joyrode it to a strip club in North Fort Worth.
That's a good dude right there. Not only was he trying to help this guy in the first place, but he's like, yeah, I didn't mind the body stabs. It was the head stab that kind of got. But again, had he killed him, you wouldn't have heard. Well, you didn't hear that story except you're hearing it here and on local news. But the point is, a story like that, had he killed that guy because the race thing didn't fit, you get it. And really what I'm more broadly trying to show you is that if we just keep allowing all of this, it will do bad things. And where will it do bad things? Of course, it's going to be in the blue cities because they will be taken over by criminals and drug addicts and homeless people. And oh, here is the iconic San Francisco Center, which is now closed.
More than half of all the stores at the San Francisco Center are gone. In fact, several additional stores have closed in the last few days.
I feel sad that some of the stores are closing. We have nowhere to go, you know.
Now, all eyes on this Bloomingdale's, the company's second biggest location in the nation, that will be closing soon. The sign says they're already in their last 10 days, hence the 70% off.
So why are they closing? Are they closing because of Trump and tariffs? Are they closing because of fascism? Or are they closing because Gavin Newsom's the governor of California and was the mayor of San Francisco, and San Francisco has brought in progressive Soros-backed DAs, and they allowed for criminality and drugs and yada, 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 yada. A little more evidence of what's going on in San Francisco. How much does it cost to buy a toilet? I'm going to guess if we went to Home Depot right now, I could probably get a toilet for about $150. Get me, if I'm just going for a standard, I think they're called standard, right? American standard toilet. I want to get a toilet. About $150. We're going to Google some, about 150, 100. You get a toilet for $100 these days? Amazing, because in San Francisco, it costs the city 1.7 mil.
Tuesday, I went to this famous public bathroom in San Francisco to go pee. The bathroom is famous because in 2020, when the city announced it, they said they planned to spend $1.7 million to build it. The bathroom is literally just one toilet, a trash can, a diaper changing station, and a light. And on the outside, there is a very simple sink with no mirror. And the entire bathroom is made out of cinder blocks. But for some reason, the city said they need to spend $1.7 million to build it. $1.7 million, by the way, is actually more than this fourplex costs in the same neighborhood that, guess what, has...
That's great. I love that they show the price what you could get as a house over there, right? 1.7 million for a toilet, which you can get a toilet for $100. A trash can. They don't even buy a mirror for the. By the way, speaking of trash cans, look at this team that I have with me. Look what they did. They're in the break. I now have an official Ilhan Omar puke garbage can with me. I said we were going to get one in stainless steel, but this is just, I think this is from Target. I would think I did get this from Target years ago. Was in the house at one point. But now for going forward, when I'm talking about Ilhan Omar and I get that, you know, that feeling when you know it's going to come and you got to just, I'm just going to let it out. Because a lot of times I'm swallowing back the puke here. I'm just going to vomit in this thing and we'll try to do it all right, we're going to work on some of the logistics around that, but that's good job, guys. Also at Dunkin' Donuts, you know, when you're buying a donut, what are you thinking? You walk into a donut shop and you're like, I'd like I like just the standard glazed donut. I haven't had a donut in a while, but maybe I like the Boston cream. Maybe I like they got the chocolate with the sprinkles. Maybe I'd like a cruller. But in Chicago, you might get shot. So they've got bullet. You're going to get shot. Don't buy a donut in Chicago, basically.
Look how they taking money at Dunkin' Donuts, y'all. Like, come on, man. What is this? It's crazy. Straight bulletproof glass through the whole thing, man. I mean, you can't even breathe on these people. Look how sealed this is. This is a professional seal. Like, you can't even talk to these people barely. Appreciate you, man.
So again, congratulations. While you people rant and rave about Donald Trump and Elon Musk, it's your cities where people are being stabbed. It's your cities where people are being lit on fire on the subways and pushed into subway cars, and where you walk into a Dunkin' Donuts and it's basically like a maximum security prison. You guys have done all this. And until we reverse that cultural rot, it will keep happening. And speaking of cultural rot, human Q-tip, Elie Mystal, this guy over on MSNBC, he's making the media rounds right now. I guess he's got a book and he's making the media rounds, and it's a giant circle jerk on these shows. Oh, you've got a crappy book produced by these people. We'll put you on all of these shows and blah, 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 blah. Even though if you're a right winger, you're not going to get on any of these shows. That's how it works. And I think we showed you a clip last week. He wants to get rid of all our laws. Here he is now. He's ready. He's ready to get rid of the Constitution. I like the Constitution, but human Q-tip, Elie Mystal, does not.
South Africa got over apartheid. Did they just go back to their Afrikaner racist constitution and be like, oh, we just need a couple of amendments. We just need a couple of changes here to make it work? No, they threw the whole thing out and started again, this time asking everybody. Wow. This time having a completely new delegation of all of the people of South Africa, not just the white folks, but not no white folks. And they came up with a new constitution. It's one of the reasons why the South African constitution is generally thought of as one of the best constitutions in the world. And ours continues to be a piece of crap.
So what laws would you kick out immediately? What laws are you saying it needs to get the out of here?
Yeah, so the first one I have in my book is that I want to eliminate every single voter registration law.
Right. Okay. Do I even have to address this? Like, what do you want me to do with this fucking guy? Like, he's an utter embarrassment, which is perfect that he works at MSNBC. He looks like a human Q-tip, like Ozempic guy. Everybody's on it. Just get going. I'm not on it, but everybody else seems to be on it. But aside that, the way that Lenny, it's Charlemagne, I can't call him the god, but Lenny's like, oh, that does sound good. Oh yeah, rip up the Constitution. Oh yeah, no ID laws. And it's just an absolute joke. So it seems to me that this is where we're at right now. Trump and the sane people are trying to really do some things. They're really trying to fix the country right now. And we have this very, very brief opportunity. And we knew, by the way, we knew that if Trump got into office, there was going to be something crazy. Because if you remember the first 2 years of Trump 45, it was pretty great. It really was. We had Abraham Accords, peace in the Middle East, which everybody used to be for. We had a thriving economy. Like, things were really going well. Then COVID comes in, right? You can go to a conspiracy version or that or not. But fact, this thing came out of nowhere and came in. It seems fairly obvious to me that what now is happening is there is going to be some sort of conflation, or there's going to be some sort of amalgamation of the crazy people that have broken brains, that are being bussed in from everywhere, that think they're fighting fascists, and they've got the dogs on a leash, and then the people who want to burn down the Constitution, and the people who are afraid of fascists, even though they're the fascists, and they are just going to put pressure, and do everything possible to create maximum chaos so that before you know it, it'll be like that. It'll be the day before the midterms, and the Republicans will lose the House because people can only deal with a certain amount of chaos. So what I think we need to do to stop that is not only have the good policies, that's good, but all of us better start realizing how good it is. And that we better start realizing we've got to stop playing with these people. We have to treat people who say they want to destroy the country or kill you or jail you, or who are actually doing it. We better treat them accordingly. And there is no one who illustrates that better than Douglas Murray.
I do not want to live in a country with Hamas supporters. I want them deported. I want them chucked out. Simple. And I will do everything I can to ensure that happens. I am fed up, by the way, of the centrist dad hand-wringing era, where people say, oh, but might it be against our liberal values, and might our liberalism... I'm not as interested in that as I am in Britain remaining Britain. I am much more interested in that. At every time of national emergency in our nation's history, we gave something up to survive. We did in the Napoleonic Wars, we did in the wars of the 20th century, and we will have to now. This is the thing we give up, extending tolerance to people who do not extend it back to us. It should be over, that era.
There is just nobody better than Douglas, and, with the perfect accent, and I will sit here like this and tell you what the truth is, no matter how badly you don't want to hear it. I've had enough of these people. They have to go. I don't care where they go, but they can't stay here. They can go to Dunkin' Donuts or some other donut factory, but I will not live in a country with people who would like to kill me. If you want more from Douglas Murray, and he's right. He's right. If we just sit here for the next year and a half and debate, oh my God, should we allow all the people who want to burn the country down, who actually are burning the country down, or who are shooting healthcare executives on the street, et cetera, should we allow them to do it? We're nice and we're liberal and we're kind. Well, then we will all be beheaded. I would prefer not to be beheaded. I think you would prefer not to be beheaded. So you might want to think about all of that stuff. Speaking of Douglas Murray, he has a new book. It's called On Democracies and Death Cults. I have an interview with him coming out on Saturday. As I said at the top of the show, there is no post-game show. I've got to do something. It's very important. I promise you it's worth it. I'll let you know. The show tomorrow will not be live at 11 a.m. It will be at 4 p.m. It's connected to that thing. My interview with Lindy Lee, who is a former Democratic activist and fundraiser, is up right now. She is now like right-wing maniac 101. You'll really dig that if you haven't seen it. I thank you for watching on this Monday. Do I need to look at my stocks right now? Do I need to open up the app and see what's going on? We're okay? Oh, all right. Maybe no lunch for any. It could be lunch, could be no lunch. We'll find out in a moment. All right, thanks for watching, everybody. Ciao.
I just feel grateful for the sense of community.
All we have now is each other. Nobody likes us. Not the right, not the left.
We definitely saw a shift in the amount of pussy we were getting. October was huge for us.
And it just flatlined after the election. We kind of had the same trajectory as MoviePass. It's just a lot.
I mean, if you look at MoviePass's stock chart, it's a really similar graph to the amount of sex we were having. I just feel like we went into this with the best of intentions, and we're coming out of it with the worst results. There used to be a lot more of us, but we've splintered off into a lot of different factions.
Some are looking ahead to 2028. There's white guys for Gavin Newsom. They meet at a Kona Grill at JFK Airport twice a month.
There's white dudes for Radiohead, which seems redundant.